Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up gay culture. Gay Twitter explodes on why does gay culture embrace Speedo-clad muscle boy social media pictures? It's an unknown. A recent picture on Twitter, which one man calls X, has sparked a lively debate about gay culture, body standards, and unrealistic expectations of beauty. The photo shows 18 gay guys, all appearing white and all in Speedos with athletic bodies, and the caption stating, quote, "You walk into a party and see this WYD, or what you doing," end quote. Social media users had a lot to say, with health and science reporter Benjamin Ryan writing, quote, "This is what I loathe most about urban gay male culture. Men whose entire world revolves around taking steroids and consorting with men with identical bodies and then documenting it all on social media. It's petty, sad, vicocious, boring, and deeply unhealthy in myriad ways," end quote. User Ashmetic Kid wrote, "I know a lot of gays want to hate on this, but they're often the same gays who want to be part of this kind of crowd so bad," end quote. And my apologies for getting your username wrong. Others say they would, quote, "ask for a dose," end quote, or that they would do, quote, "their coke," end quote. User Laugh Lexipro seems to have summed it up the best with the tweet, quote, "The annual lack of diversity at the pool party photo getting dragged on here is the official start to gay summer. It's like our Groundhog Day." And well, I just want to start with, I am perplexed how pictures of attractive men, or in this case, allegedly attractive men, get so famous on Instagram of all places. Who knew? You know, I will say I am torn on one issue, because like I have seen a lot of photos that go around where it's all white gays. And like, I can only speak of my own experience. I'm like, I tend to be in majority white gay groups, but not all white. But then I also say to myself, we also don't pose for pictures, photos like we're like our family bar mitzvah. So maybe it's like an all white only gay thing.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, those people will complain about, you know, the vacuous lives they lead. I'm like, okay, you know, you're like trying to be mean girl about something, but. And plus, I mean, we all live around here. Wilton Manor is one of the gayest places in the universe. And you know what? Yes, there are those cliques of gym boys, but there are also bears, muscle bears, otters, puppies, you know, and people like kind of congregate based on their, well, you know, their lifestyle. I mean, for the lack of a better word.
I just have to add, Benjamin Ryan, I believe was his name. That was some word salad and trying too much to score with like an AP score and an SAT test. I have no idea what.
Well, I'm sure if he is a he must be very intelligent to be that kind of writer. So.
Sure.
But he sounded angry.
Yeah, he sounded
jealous.
angry.
He sounded like he wanted a piece of the action and he wasn't getting it. There's a whole bunch of things you can say about like that narrow quote that was out there. You know, pretty people are pretty people, and they could have done the same thing with a group of bears. And it, you know, there's also handsome just because, you know, even if they're bigger and stuff like that, they're very good looking. Yeah. So we all know the Bears of South Florida has an like monthly pool party, and that's not a bad looking group. All that, you know,
no.
I mean, they're a bunch of very handsome men in there that just happen to be a little hairier. So I think it's a bad representation to say that represents the opening of summer for us, because that's what we all want to aspire to.
I mean, there are. I mean,
any of them out of bed, just
and I mean,
maybe
in some,
one or two.
In some aspects, that might be true in certain quarters. For example, Fire Island, which is extremely affluent and quite white, and you know you need to be extremely wealthy to get in. And of course, they groom themselves up to the nines. Maybe that's true in Fire Island, but that doesn't apply to every other place. It doesn't apply to P-Town, Boston, Wilton.
P-Town's not exactly a working class place.
P-Town's got a lot of money and less diversity.
I hate to be a little bit of a downer, but even though I agree that, you know, the men can be attractive to some and whatnot, like I think it definitely shows like a deeper conversation we're having about like what masculinity means to us and what is represented when we're talking about men, because a lot of the times when, you know, I'm looking at like men's pages, I don't see people like me. Like, I don't see people who are trans. I don't see people who are, you know, not like fit or buff. I don't see people of color. Like, I sometimes, you know, feel excluded from the term man, even though I am a man, you know? So I kind of sometimes wish that, you know, the representation that we had of men was more broad and included more people. But of course, like you were saying, you know, sometimes people, and you were saying that people congregate based on like their certain identities and whatnot. So I understand. But man, like, I want to be included, you know?
No, you should explore different things. I mean, there are different groups, subgenres, or as I call it, subgenres of gay men. And trust me, you will find one.
The best one is, I guess, twink, but I'm not fit enough for it.
The only positive I will say for sure on this, because, you know, earlier I was talking about Britney Spears 2007. The way body images were 20 years ago when I was like 20 versus now, sadly, this is progress compared to where we were 20 years ago. But there is one other aspect, like, because these were big muscle boys, we should talk about class on that. It's very hard to be poor and to afford the sort of life and protein and all the stuff to be looking like protein, some of those guys. Like the whole ripped look now, that's not a poor person's look at the end. That's not to be ignored.
I know, trust me, I would hate to eat like them. I mean, you eat is like broccoli and chicken. I'm like, good God, kill me. You know.
And steroids.
Well, you don't eat steroids, but, you know, point taken.
I think what it does is it's more of a mental, like, won't say the F word, but it's more of a mental F to most people, because you look at it and we've been all trained to go, we should look like this, the whole body positive image or lack of it. And, you know, growing up, I remember getting depressed when I would look at something like that. Going back to your point, is I didn't fit in. I didn't look like them. I was a skinny Jewish kid. I wasn't, you know, I'd never had a stick 8-pack. That would never be me. So, you know, you start to question, are you good enough? And so there is a negative part of this, is like, what does it do to you mentally when that's what you're using as representation? So, but I think, like, to Bobby's point and stuff, there is so much out there right now that wasn't 20 years ago, where we have the groups like the Bears, or we have the Otters, or we have whole different groups of people that are out there representing different parts of our culture. And TV's even gotten better. You know, they no longer show just the San Francisco Pride Festival where someone's wearing a tutu and a scoop neck tank top and pink feathers, you know, representing what we are, and which we weren't. And that made it hard also growing up, because the only representation you had was that image, which wasn't who you are. Or, you know, 99% of us aren't that person on the float. So, you know, it goes all the way around. It's like, how do you fit in? And it's a bigger subject and a deeper conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, and that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.